today it is time for another Top 5 Wednesday. This week's topic are your best suggested books, and at first I wasn't really sure if I would have enough books for this ranking, but in the end, with considering everything like booktube recommendations and just general things as well, I do have 5 books that I want to talk about. Before we start, I just want to say a huge thanks to Ginger Reads Laney, who is, as you probably know, the creator of Top 5 Wednesday. I always leave the link to her and the Goodreads group in the description below, and in her Top 5 Wednesday videos she always shouts out one booktuber and one blogger, and last week she shouted out me, and I was just really happy, and I gained some new subscribers, so hello to all of you who are new. I hope you enjoy, and yeah, I just wanted to get that out there because I felt really happy and grateful and thankful for that. My number 5 is a German book called Der Geschmack von Apfelkern by Katharina Hagena, which means the taste of apple seeds. And this was suggested by a friend of mine in school, I think in 8th grade maybe, where we were supposed to talk about books that we really liked and recommend these to the other people in the class. And this was one of the books that were suggested, and I thought it sounded really interesting, and I bought the book pretty fast after that. It definitely took me some time to finally pick it up and read it, and I think when I first started it I didn't get over 50 pages, but when I picked it up again I was really in love with it. It's a very beautiful story, and I can't really remember much about it, but I definitely know that I really enjoyed it, and I think I have to reread it very soon. My number 4 is Gone Girl by Gillian Flynn, and except for it being suggested through BookTube and in general being just a really popular book overall, the reason I finally read it was that a friend of mine in Vienna had recently read it and watched the movie, and we just kind of talked about books randomly at some point, and she just said, "Have you seen Gone Girl? Have you read Gone Girl?" And I was like, "No, I really want to do it," and she totally freaked out and said it's so amazing, and she also owned the book and then said she would lend it to me so I could read it. So this is something that I probably wouldn't have picked up for a really long time if it wasn't for her suggesting it again and for lending the book to me. My number 3 is Twilight by Stephenie Meyer, and this was a book that was suggested to me by a friend in school, actually my best friend back then, and I don't even know how we talked about this, but I just remember that she just gave me the book and said I'm supposed to read it because it's really good, and I read it and I absolutely fell in love with it. This was around the time, shortly before the movie came out, and the first 3 books were out at this point, and I read them all in 1 week, which at this point in my life was something really special and something I had never done, I think. It really made me realize how much I love reading and how there's so many different genres out there, and that there's YA, because before I mostly read adult contemporary and chick lit. I have talked about this many times before, and I think so many people on BookTube have Twilight as their first YA book they have read, and kind of discovering the genre in general and discovering the love for reading for many. So this is not really a new one, but yeah, I'm very happy this was suggested to me. I have not reread the book since then, so I really don't know if I would still like them. I still love them as of now in my imagination, so I'm scared of rereading it, but someday it's gonna happen. My number 2 is a complete BookTube recommendation, a very general recommendation, so nothing where someone came up to me and said you will love this book, but this book means so much to me, and I still feel like it's a very personal recommendation, so I wanted to include it in this one, and that is The Archive by Victoria Schwab. And when I bought it there were quite a few people talking about it on BookTube, but one in particular was obviously Jesse the Reader, and I feel like he talked about it so many times and he mentioned it so often and he talked so much about how much he loved this book that I really feel like it was personally suggested to me. When I picked this book up I felt like I already really knew what I was getting into, so it wasn't surprised that I loved it as much as I did, and yeah, that's why I kind of feel like this was personally suggested to me as well. And my number 1 is the one that is definitely most important to me, that really changed my reading life, and that I probably wouldn't ever have discovered until recently if it wasn't for a friend of mine suggesting this to me in school, and that is Outlander by Diana Gabaldon. I'm holding up the 3rd book because I don't own the first one. This was suggested to me by a friend in, I can never really remember, but I think it had to be 7th or 8th grade. Once again, I have no idea how we actually came to the topic, like how she was like, oh, I think you would really love this book. But I just remember that she told me that there is these amazing like historical fiction books with romance in it that her mother read. She said she hasn't read them herself, but she thinks that from what her mother says about them, I would really enjoy them. So she also lent the first book to me and I read it and I loved it so much, and the rest is history. Like, I don't know what to say. I really don't think I would have found these books if it wasn't for my friend. I probably only would have found out about it now that the TV show is airing, and I don't know where I would be in my life if I haven't discovered these so early on. Maybe I wouldn't even have been interested in the TV show because these books really shaped my life and it shaped my reading life, and I really feel like this is a really important series for my life. I don't want to get too cheesy, but it's a really special thing for me and I'm so very grateful that my friend recommended this to me and I love it. So these were my top 5 suggested books. I'm really glad I decided to come up with these and film it because I really already gave up on it, and then I tried to really concentrate and think of these, and now I'm really happy I got to talk about them. Definitely let me know your best suggested books and what it means to you. I think it's really interesting, and it was really nice for me to kind of go back and to realize again that Outlander was a book that was suggested to me and that I probably wouldn't have picked it up and my life would be different if it wasn't there. And yeah, it's all really exciting to think about. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I guess I'll see you soon.